What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
People gonna have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
She was appointed border czar.
Border czar.
Border czar.
The border czar.
This all starts at a White House meeting about immigration on March 24th, 2021. One of two announcements made by President Biden is assigning the handling of the border to Harris. Is Kamala Harris the border czar of the Biden administration? Our sources are the White House, University of Houston, and Rice University.
There is no question that Kamala Harris was named border czar.
President Biden is tapping his vice president, Kamala Harris, to oversee U.S. diplomatic efforts to address the recent influx of migrants along the southern border.
While we are clear that people should not come to the border now, we also understand that we will enforce the law.
She was never appointed border czar.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
It seems like the mainstream legacy media has been up to their old tricks again. Probably got some marching orders from above to read from their script, you know. And the purpose is to gaslight America and all of its citizens and try to rewrite history on Kamala's part she was supposed to play in her position, her duties as vice president. You know, besides being just the first Black female to hold that position. Some might even say it kind of sounds a little bit like a conspiracy. I know. Let me put on my little tinfoil hat here. Let's just imagine, let's just say if there was like some sort of program ran by, I don't know, like the CIA, who created this program with the sole purpose to disseminate misinformation, fake news, lies, and propaganda across America and all of the West for the sole purpose to, I don't know, create their own narratives. I know that sounds crazy, but if there was a program like that, what do you think it would be called? Like Project Bird, Project Mocking, because they're mocking America's intelligence. So I'll put the two together, Project like Mockingbird. I know, sounds insane. Wait, no, that should already exist.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance.
Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate
They're weird. Deeply and profoundly weird.
Do you know when someone's trying to manipulate you? It's not always easy, especially when that person is supposed to be a trusted source of news. Operation Mockingbird was created during the early years of the Cold War to disseminate propaganda to the public through CIA-backed journalists. In 1975, the Church Committee was created to investigate abuses by the CIA. In their official report, they stated that they found 50 journalists who had official but secret relationships with the CIA, though they chose not to name those names. In 1977, investigative reporter Carl Bernstein, already famous for his investigation of Watergate, published in Rolling Stone magazine that over 400 members of the press and 25 large organizations were secretly on the CIA's payroll. These journalists and organizations were tasked with writing and publishing fake stories that could manipulate public perception. When bribes didn't work, journalists would be threatened or blackmailed. We know from classified records that these types of operations happened.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
What are we supposed to do? There it is. You've seen it. That's how they utilize and manipulate information. And they do it to your face.
If she wasn't in charge of the border and immigration, that's completely broken now, then can you please tell me what the hell she's been doing for the past 4 years? Because if she was just MIA for almost 4 years for no good freaking reason, you know, besides cackling like a banshee. Please tell me why my black ass needs to vote for her. People keep saying she's like, oh, well, she's qualified. Of what? Doing interviews and press for Biden? America's literally possibly on a brink of multiple wars And you want a woman that now the mainstream legacy media is telling you she actually didn't really do much of anything for the past 4 years. You want her to be in charge when America is literally about to fall apart. Okay, sure.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
but we are concerned about trouble trying to get responsible, one-sided news stories in our country.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.